Welcome to Monday Live. I'm so happy to see you. I hope you're having a great start to your week. We are busy, busy, busy around here today. We have been getting all kinds of things from our retreat out the door today for you so that you get fabulous happy mail. If you are part of our retreat, we had a great weekend full of inspiration. It was a lot of fun. So thank you to everybody who joined us for a great weekend. I gotta get some Stampin' Lips on here. Just gotta find the right. I'm looking for this color. I haven't worn it in a while. Ooh, I think I found it. Nope, that's not it. Hold on. Here we go. This is my fancy lip gloss that one of my downlines sent me. She's so sweet. Actually, I need to tell her about my chicken situation. She would be interested to know that, I'm sure. Anyway, I think we talked about chicks last week, didn't we? I think so. Anyway, so we had a busy weekend around here. Yesterday, what did I do yesterday? Oh, well, since I'd really ignored my family pretty much entirely since we got back from vacation, I went grocery shopping because we were really severely lacking in the food department here. And I also did some laundry because we didn't have any clean laundry either. It was kind of like one of those situations that just happens during retreat week. You completely ignore your family so that you can take care of the ladies. Luckily, my family was really sweet. I missed a track meet of Carl's on Saturday in honor of the retreat. I was a little bummed because it's one I really wanted to watch, partly because it was indoors. And right now it's really nice to have indoor meets, but my husband went and my son did really well. He PR'd in both of his races, which was great. And they're working really hard to make this meet called the Drake Relays. It's like a really big deal for cross country. It's harder to get into that than it is to get into the state meet. So like, I think people come from all over the country for this. I'm not sure. I don't know. This would be our first hurrah in that department. So we'll see. You have to qualify with a pretty good time to get in. So anyway, I'm anxious. I'll keep you posted. I'm a little bummed too because he has a meet this week, which will probably get canceled. It's his only home meet, which bums me out because most of his meets are like, oh, an hour or more away, 2 hours, whatever. Because there's a 50% chance of snow on Thursday. So that is not good. Track meet weather. I'm giggling because I remember when Ella first started track, one of the parents that I knew from when she played her viola saw me in the wintertime with I call it my teacher coat, like it goes down to my ankles, a down coat. And they said, you wear that coat to the meet. And I was like, are you like, okay, that's a little overkill. They were right. Track meets here are so cold because of the wind, and especially when the sun goes down early. And if you are out of the sun, the temperature difference is substantial. And so like sometimes depending on where the meet is, like we've been in stadiums like when the sun goes behind the stands and you're no longer in the sun, or if you're in the shade because of, however the stadium is set up or the track or whatever, wherever you're spectating from, it can be a humongous difference. So it's, they were not wrong. That is your 100% crazy shirt. So anyway, did anybody watch the Oscars last night? I didn't. I am kind of over anything that happens in Hollywood. But I heard something crazy happened. I'm assuming that was completely staged, even if they're saying it's not. I can't imagine why it wouldn't have been. I mean, because I don't know, but crazy. Oh, I love that. Oh, I'm loving that you guys are saying you're not watching the Oscars. Honestly, I really have very little respect left for Hollywood. And I will tell you two things. One, Outlander does not happen in Hollywood, it happens in Scotland. They film it there, and the actors are pretty much all there. So I like to think that my favorite show is pretty well removed from Hollywood. Also, I just I can't I just can't stand it. Like anything about it. I don't know. You guys say it's not staged. I kind of think it was. I don't know. What happened? So, Will Smith slapped. Who is it? Who's the guy? Who's the other guy?
Is it Chris Rock?
Chris Rock. Because he made fun of his wife, like in kind of a mean way, from what I understand. And I do really, I know you guys don't think it was staged. I really do. Like, who cares about the Oscars? They're like completely pointless in this day and age, in my opinion. I mean, this is just my opinion. And I realize that that makes no difference.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you, my dear. But I think like nobody cares about the Oscars anymore. So they had to do something. It's just so irrelevant in this day and age. Yeah. I don't know. So I haven't clicked on any of the links, but I saw all the things. So yeah, they moved it to stars. You don't, oh, somebody said they moved it to stars. I don't have stars. Oh, are you talking about Outlander? It's actually always been on stars, if that's what you mean, Kathy. And Branda says, two wrongs don't make a right. Yeah, I know. I don't know. No, you're right. They don't. That is true. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of you are saying a lot of the same things. It makes me feel good that I'm not the only one who could just care less about the Oscars. I think mainly because they think they're so important and so amazing and so wonderful. But I did hear that there was a movie about deaf people that won the Oscar for Best Picture. And that makes me happy because my best friend growing up was deaf. And I'm sure well, I would assume she would be kind of happy about that. But, oh, Joy has a deer in her backyard that's pretty. See, that is nice. I guess I just really am over people in Hollywood who are so far removed from reality. And I really believe everybody in Hollywood is pretty far removed from Hollywood. Feels like they have the right to tell me how I should feel about anything. It makes me crazy that they think that like they're relevant in any way. Like they make believe for a living. I think that's crazy. See, unlike me, because I have my show, but what you see is what you get. Like this is Dina in real life as well as on screen. So, and there's no airbrushing. This is it. So, oh, I just have to giggle. I just so am annoyed with all things Hollywood these days. Coda was a great Oscar. Stands for Child of Deaf Adult. Oh yeah. I haven't seen that movie though, so. Oh, Beth Ann said you would much rather watch the Dina show. That's really sweet. It's just so crazy that, I don't know, that Hollywood people think they're so important, I guess. I don't know. That's just my opinion. And who cares about my opinion at the end of the day anyway? But I will tell you another opinion, and I think we can all agree that this is a good opinion. Is something great happened today when I got my mail. My catalog was here. So this is the new catalog. This is all I can show you, unfortunately. I haven't even paged through it yet because I've had a busy day. I haven't had the chance to do this. I received my copy of the catalog a little bit early because I'm registered for an event that Stampin' Up! Has coming. I wonder if I put that in my calendar because I can't really remember which session I registered for, but I know it's coming up soon. Anyway, and I also received a free stamp set to go with this. So you can see this. I have to say I was a little, and you know me, I will tell you a little bit, probably more than I should, how I feel about things. I was a little disappointed in the stamps that I got. I like it and it's on my list, but it wasn't like on my first string of things that I wanted. So I got this limited edition stamp set and it's a really nice set, but I was hoping for like one of the sets where I could put it on the front of a card, whereas this is on the back. And I know I can be creative and do all the things, but let's just say I've seen some other people's stamp sets that they got and they got better sets than me. I'm just saying. But this is the set I got. So it is, and it's a lovely set. It's like handcrafted from the heart, one of a kind creation, limited edition, a paper hug for me. That's sweet. I just wanted some of the new images, but it'll be okay. And again, it's always wonderful to get a new set in the catalog. So why did they give different sets? I have no idea. And is it random? I would assume like everybody's getting different things and you know, whatever. It's nice because we get something early, which is really I'm really appreciate it no matter what it is. And again, don't get me wrong. I'm grateful for a stamp set because I could have gotten nothing. But I got my catalog and that makes me happy. So I can't wait to page through my catalog because, you know, there's just something about looking at the catalog in person, holding on to it in your hands. That's just a little different from looking at it online. So I love that. Now, I'm seeing all kinds of comments about when are your catalogs coming? So demonstrators will receive their catalogs. I don't know when they go out. Now, if you're wondering why I got a stamp set, sorry, I should back up. I got that as part of my registration for the Stampin' Up! Event. It's in conjunction with that. That's why I got a stamp set. They aren't sending out stamp sets with catalogs. I should have made that a little more clear. If you're a demonstrator, they start sending complimentary copies of catalogs. I think they are already in the mail. If not, they're going to be sent like very shortly. And then if you're a customer of mine, I will be sending catalogs to everybody who's ordered $50 or more from me in the last 6 months. So if you have not done that, you've got a couple more days to get your order in, and then I will send a catalog out to you free of charge. If you need a catalog and don't have a demonstrator, please send me an email and I will happily put you on my list so that you will get one. And Connie did... I'm reading Connie's comment about my love of the Enjoy the Moment stamp set. Did you talk to Kathy? Did she show you my message to her? She asked me to tell her how I felt about the Enjoy the Moment stamp set. I believe I made my thoughts clear. Oh my gosh. So yeah, she showed you. I thought you were there, Connie. Oh, goodness. Am I on daylight savings time now? Yes, I am. Okay, so I think that covers most. There's so many comments were coming in fast. I couldn't even read them all. Do you get it if you are a demonstrator? You get a stamp set and a catalog early if you're registered for Stampin' Up's On Tour event that happens throughout the month of April. If you are a customer, you will get a catalog from your demonstrator. Personally, if you have purchased from me, I will send catalogs to everybody who spent $50 from me in the last 6 months. That's how I send them out. And okay, let's see. Da, 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 da. I'm looking, I'm reading. There's been quite a few. Okay. Pa, 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 pa. Okay. All right. So anyway, I've got some projects for today, and honestly, struggling. I always have this kind of after an event where I struggle. Do you guys have creative blocks ever? I do sometimes. So we're going to see what we can do to get through them, and I'll show you some of my tips for getting through your creative blocks. So I think it's time for me to flip. Woo! Wah! Things are flying here. Things are happening. I gotta, actually, I think I need a sip. And then I'm going to flip my camera. I've got some fun projects, and I had several requests for a stamp set. So we're going to see what we can do with this today. And then I got to put all the lip gloss back. I pulled a bunch out looking for my favorite one. So anyway, okay. Ba, 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 ba. What was I looking for? I don't remember. I feel like there might be something. Well, anyway, I'm going to flip my camera. Okay, close your eyes for just a moment. Okay, so a couple of things. There's just a few days left to take advantage of my awesome special happening right now, where if you spend $50 or more in my online store, as always, you will get the All-Star Tutorial PDF, which is the Abstract Beauty, one of my favorites. And there's just a few more days to get this one for free. If you spend $75 or more and you use the host code, you have to use the host code, you will get a small grab bag. And if you spend $125 or more, you will get a large grab bag. Again, must use the host code. And this is something I do probably once or twice a year. And it's kind of a fun little thing. It's a great way for me to share some of my goodies. There will be new and retired items in these grab bags. So there's just I've got all kinds of little treasures to share. So anyway, I would love to have you take advantage of this awesome ordering special. There's a link in the description of this video to my online store. Of course, when you order through me, that helps me so much continue to bring these awesome videos to you each week. And if you haven't already, make sure you take advantage of the last chance list. There's some great bargains. Several stamp sets have already sold out, so you want to make sure and place your order as soon as possible so that you can get the things on your wish list. Also, I am excited to announce we will be having game night. This is the one I was looking for. Game night is coming back. So you can join the fun. It's going to be a teeny bit different this going forward. So first of all, if you want to watch the video, you have to be registered. It's not going to be a public video anymore. Second, we're going to have some fun little extra things happening during game night. I've got some surprises in store for you. So I think you're going to like that. Registration is going to open sometime this week. I think it'll be tomorrow, but I'm not sure. But it's going to be super fun. I'm very excited about it. I've got some great stuff planned, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So watch for that. It will return to the second Tuesday. It's not going to be each month. It's going to be once a quarter for right now. Part of this is because I am losing some of my help and Becky is moving. And so that definitely affects what I can do. But we're going to get her to help me with this before she leaves. She's actually only here for another couple weeks. So I'm really sad. So anyway, watch for this. If you are not on my email list, make sure you get on there. And I will be posting more about this in my Stampin' Game Night Workshop Facebook group coming up, so you can see it there. As well as if you're on my email list, I will be sending it out. So that is going to be, I want to say April. I don't have my calendar handy. It's like whatever the second Tuesday of April is, which, let me see if I can pull up a calendar here really quick. Da, da, da. April is the 12th. I was right. Yeah. So April 12th will be our next game night. Okay. Then, the other thing, I have Sunshine and Creativity delivered. You have just a couple days left to get registered for this. I'm really excited about this month. We're doing Vellum. I'm calling it Vellum Magic. Vellum is apparently mystical in card making circles, and it's one of my favorite things. And actually, we're going to make a card with some vellum today. So I wanted to do the topic of this month's box is on vellum. So if you are a lover of vellum, or if you're confused by vellum, you want to learn more about vellum, this is going to be the box for you. This is part of my monthly subscription box, and it's a really amazing collection of goodies sent to you in a fun box with an uplifting things in it. Oh, it's lots of fun. So anyway, you can get registered for the vellum box by the end of this month, which is Thursday, and then you will get all of the fabulous goodies. And then let's see, I've got a couple of classes that go out yet this week. The first is the Ocean Waves online class. Oh, this is really awesome. And it is going to be a really great class. Actually, it is an amazing class. I really love the projects we have for this class. Lots of really cool ways to use the goodies that came in the Waves of the Ocean collection of products. And then I also have my Paradise Palms Creativity to Go kit, which is another really wonderful class. Again, amazing, amazing projects. Lots of cool techniques in this one as well, including some watercolored backgrounds that go so nicely with this bundle. And this class comes out this week as well. So I will be sending in a last chance email for this probably tomorrow. So watch for that. And then the last thing I want to remind you is there's just a few days left of the Savings in Bloom promotion from Stampin' Up, where you get 20% off the mini die cut Stampin' Cut emboss machine, as well as several bundles. They don't often give you a discount on bundles, so this is kind of fun. Anyway, so the All Squared Away bundle, which is one of my favorites. I highly recommend this. It is on the discontinued list. So if you don't have this one, you really should have this one. I made a really cool card with it last week. It's a good one. It was also the topic of, we had a card swap contest during our retreat, and the winning swap was made with this set, or one of them was anyway, which I've been looking for the card. I can't find the card. Like, what did I do with it? Apparently after I took a picture of it, I lost it. I don't know. But anyway, so this is a really great bundle. And then there's several others. Some of these are being retired and some of them are not. So there's a whole bunch of good things on here. But if I were to suggest some favorites, that I recommend. For sure, the Quiet Meadow bundle. That's probably my very favorite one. I really like the Welcoming Window bundle. And if you don't have these two, these are really good too. The tree set, Beauty of Friendship. The stamp set is continuing, but the actual dies are being discontinued, which I think is a little odd, but they never ask me. Celebrating Sunflowers, of course. I love the hydrangea. I love the pansy patch. I love the seascape. All of these are really great bundles. Actually, I have everything on here except the wildcats. So I like them all. But you know me, I like to tell you what is my fave. Okay, so there you have it. Those are all our announcements for today. Now, I had a couple of requests for some projects, so I want to get to those. The first one is for the Flowing Flowers stamp set, and this is a really wonderful stamp set, and I have kind of a different take on it, so I hope you're gonna enjoy this. You know me, I love color, but if there's something I like more than color, it's black and white with a pop of color, and that's what we're going to do with this, and maybe in a way you might not expect either. So I'm going to start with, I would argue, one of my favorite patterns of paper from all time, which is this one. It comes from the Pattern Party, the Host Pattern Party DSP, which you can get free with a qualifying order. And so I wanted to use this to make a card. So I'm going to start with a piece of this DSP, and I'm going to cut it to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then I'm going to take this leftover piece and I'm going to put this in. Did this paper carry over? No, Host sets pretty much never, ever carry over. Not in the last many years. So no, Host things do not tend to carry over. That's kind of a get them while you can situation. So you have a month left. Get it while you can. And that's if it holds out in stock. So it's one of my faves. Okay, so I've got the 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. We're going to adhere this to a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of basic black, like so. And then I'm going to attach this to, I know this is going to shock you, a basic white thick card base. I say that because I've been using that a lot lately, but it just works. Okay, so we'll attach this like so. There we go. Okay, next I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock and put this on here. I might alter the size of this, so I'm not going to give you the size quite yet, but I'm going to take my stamped images, or I'm going to take my stamps and add them. And like I said, I really like this set. It's just kind of a little, what I love about what I'm going to do is it's going to be black and white with a pop of color, which is kind of the best. Okay, so I'm going to ink this up in some black ink. So I pull out for that some Memento Black. Now, what I love about this set in particular is that you can see there is all kinds of texture built into this stamped image. So you can see all sorts of really cool, fun color. And actually, I need to grab my grid paper to protect my work surface, because let's be honest, I'm not the cleanest of stampers. Okay. So, oh, look at all that. Oops. So it's got kind of some lines, some darker areas, some lighter areas, all built into that. So that's pretty cool. All right. How long do you have to wait to sign up again to become a demo? So you typically have to wait 90 days. However, if your upline has dropped or is no longer active, then you can sign up sooner than that. Like you can sign up right away. So that is kind of a cool thing. I actually didn't know that until fairly recently. So, okay, so I'm just adding my stamped images kind of all over this panel, like so. And I'm going to fill this up like that. Okay. And you could do this with any of the images. I just chose this particular image. All right. Now I want to stamp my sentiment on here. And there's some really nice sentiments. I think I'm going to do Time for a Happy Dance just because I really like that. It's just a nice, it's a nice sentiment. It's a little bit, I don't want to say different, but it's just it's not your typical like, hello, happy birthday, just a note. Although there is a just a note in here. I just like this because it's a little different. Time for a Happy Dance is fun. Now we want to do this with a pop of color. So we can do that in a lot of different ways, but I think I'm actually going to take, this is the label. I was using this weekend. This is the label. Oh, and it's perfect, from the Quiet Meadow dies, or the Meadow dies, I think is actually what they're called. And so I want to use this for my sentiment. So I'm going to die cut this from a little scrap of basic white cardstock, and then we're going to throw a pop of color in here. So give me 1 second to die cut this. Okay, someone asked, what is the secret to using distinctive stamps? I've tried the spoon to move the ink around, but it doesn't turn out correctly. So, Leanne, I think it's, the secret is to not have a really juicy ink pad. That is the best secret I can share with you, is to not have a super juicy ink pad. Let's see. Let's just see here if I can demonstrate that for you. Because I have a bunch of ink pads that I know need cleaning right now. So, or not cleaning, what was I saying? I'm cleaning my stamp. I have a bunch of ink pads that need re-inking. So let's see here. Gosh, what was I just using that I was like, oh, I need to ink that? There were several. That looks pretty good. Coastal Cabana, I use that all the time. That always needs to be re-inked. No. Daffodil, no. Flirty. Okay, this pad needs to be re-inked. This will be an excellent example of this. Dolly is saying, Leanne, make sure your pad is well inked. I actually would argue that is exactly what you don't want. Distinctive stamps have lots of detail, and when there's too much ink, that causes the detail to get lost in the juiciness of the ink pad. So you do not want to do that. Rather, you want a less inked pad. So one way to get less ink on your pad is to rub the ink in. Okay, so let me show you. But if you have too much ink in your pad, there's really not much that can be done. Okay, so that inked up and shows the detail pretty well. Okay. So let me show you the difference. So this is kind of a dry pad. So now I'm going to take this pad and I'm going to put ink in it. Sorry, I had to find my refill. Okay, so I like to re-ink my pads like this. I find it's really hard to know what the exact right amount of ink is, but I generally speaking want a pretty decent amount of ink in my ink pads. Okay, so you can see I've dropped lots of ink on here, but it's also a little bit on the blotchy side. So whenever I re-ink a pad anymore, I will take something like a spoon to work the ink into the pad. This helps distribute the ink I just put in there, as well as work it into the pad so it's not all sitting right on top. Okay. So that worked pretty well. And I can just clean off my spoon. Okay. Then I'm going to ink this up. I can already see it's juicy. Okay. So now when I look at this, it's brighter, yes, but these details are a lot blotchier. They're not as nice looking. So is it okay? Yeah, it is. But I think this looks a lot better. So this is just re-inked. Okay, so now say I just re-inked my pad as I just did, but I want it to look more like this. So what I can do is, first of all, let it sit for a little bit, and then really work that ink into the pad. So now I'm like pushing it. I'm not just trying to like even it out. I'm pushing the ink into the pad. The beauty is it will always come back. It's not like it's going anywhere. It's still in the ink pad. It won't like ooze out. But when I do that, and let me get rid of the excess that was on here. When I do that, I tend to get a little better results, and it's already coming back to the surface, I can see. So like, there we go. Okay, I think this is still going to be pretty inky, but it's not quite as bad. So it's still a little blotchy. So Kathy likes the inkier version. And yeah, that's just your preference. I love seeing all those details, so I like the drier. I think it really comes down to your personal preference at the end of the day. And, you know, like anything, there's no totally right or totally wrong reasons. It does come down to personal preference. But those are my suggestions for you to get the best results. Okay. Let's see. It looked like there was a question back here. Deborah. Deborah's asking about joining. Yeah, Deborah, if you if you want to become a demonstrator, Deborah, I can hook you up. I have a great team, and there's all kinds of wonderful benefits of being a part of my team. And I have a bunch of people on here commenting about that. Thank you all. They are members of many people on here are members of my team. And yes, you can just enjoy your discount. You don't have to do events, and I can explain how all of that works. And actually, Friday is kind of the perfect day to sign up, not gonna lie. So if you would like more information, please drop me an email, and I will write my email here in just a second. So I know a lot of people ask me about joining my team if they're already demonstrators. And that's another really personal choice. It's up to you. Sometimes they want more a more active group. I have an extremely active group. They want more training. We offer weekly and monthly training. But at the end of the day, it's really your preference. And if you want to rejoin, you do have to wait the 90 days if you have an upline. But it might, I mean, those 90 days might be the difference between you staying and enjoying being a demonstrator or you quitting Stampin' Up! Altogether, or those 90 days might not be worth it. It's really a personal preference. I can't tell you what to do, that's for sure. But I will tell you that if you join my team, I will support you and we will have fun. Those are my 2 promises. So just keep that in mind. And if you have questions about that, again, please feel free to contact me. And anybody who's interested, my email is drekow@yahoo.com. And I'm pretty sure it's in the description of this video somewhere too. Okay, so there we go. I know people say 90 days is a long time. It actually is pretty quick, and it can really be worth it in the end if things are better for you. But again, that's a personal preference, and I don't ever want to take you away from your team. But if you're not happy, I want you to be happy too. So, okay. I'm going to pop this up. Oh, look, I get to finish off this sheet of dimensionals. That makes me happy. Ooh. Okay. There we go. Oh my gosh, Becky, that's funny. Becky just said the sweetest thing. Watch Dina's cactus card video. Never laughed so hard. And I thought, yes, this is where I want to be. Well, there you go, Kathy. Or Debbie, sorry, Deborah. The cactus card sold Becky. That makes my heart just a little happier knowing that. Oh, okay, so here we have our black and white, lots of black and white on here, but we now need to add our sentiment. And oh my gosh, I was going to say, don't tell me I lost my label. Whew. I've got my label. And so I want to stamp a pop of color. And on here, we really could do anything. We could do yellow, we could do pink, we could do purple, we could do aqua. Any of those would look good. I kind of have my eye on hot pink because that's my fave. So I'm going to use some Magenta Madness. And I'm going, and because this is a happy dance card, I feel like this is the right color for that. Happy dance, you know? Okay. Oh, and it's totally crooked. That makes me mad. And I know you guys are going to say, well, if you put your labels on your stamps, they wouldn't be crooked. You're right. I still am not going to do it. Okay, you know what? I'm a stickler. I'm going to cut another label as long as I can find my die. Here it is. It's worth it. Okay, so here we go. Da, da, da. Gods of straight stamping, please be with us. Well, that's about as crooked as the first one. Maybe it's a little better. Anywho. Okay, so I've got this pop of color. And then I'm going to accent that with a little more color. Now this is polished pink ribbon, but I think no one will know this is not Magenta Madness ribbon. So I'm just going to put a little zigzag of this ribbon on here. Oh, pardon my arm. I know, see? Okay, Janie gets it. you have to put the label on straight, and that's why I don't do it, because if my label is not 100% perfectly accurate and straight and representative of what my stamp is, it makes me crazy. That's why I don't put them on. Also, a little because I'm lazy, but mostly because if they're not straight, it makes me crazy. Like, that is something I'm OCD about. There aren't very many things, but that is one of them. And if you were in the retreat, you know we had whole conversations about this. And who's OCD about things and who's not. I am not OCD about very many things, but this is one of them. Can you tell? I'm a little passionate about it. I don't believe in stamp labels, because if they're not 100% perfect and accurate to what is there, it makes me very upset. And a little crazy. Okay, so now I put this little pop of color between our sentiment and our ribbon. Still yanking stuff off. And then we're going to tack that on like so. Okay, but wait, there's more. I've got some here we go. I've got some in color jewels. These are being discontinued, which kind of blew my mind. I am disappointed in that. I'm not going to lie. I wish they wouldn't have been. I just got to find me not a brush tip, take your pick tool, but a regular one. I've got them on here somewhere. I don't know where it went. I cleaned up after my retreat projects this weekend, and see, that's the problem. I cleaned up. If I would have left my table all messy, oh, here it is. I would have been able to find it. Okay, so I squeezed that just a little bit, and now I'm going to put some jewels on here as well in the pink, and it's just adds a nice little pop of color on here that's kind of fun and a little bit unexpected. Okay, now we have this leftover strip of DSP, which, we cut off of this, so we don't have to throw that away. We can throw it on the inside of our card, and it'll make people happy because it'll fit right in here. Like so. Oh, so nice. So time for a happy dance. And then on the inside of our card, where did my stamp set go? We can stamp, really any of these will fit in here. Sending a card instead of a text. Thank you, just a note, happy birthday, whatever you want. I like happy birthday because I think a birthday is worth doing a happy dance for. And so we could put this on the inside of our card like that. And I kind of like putting it in the corner here. Little unexpected spot. So there we go. There's our first card, you guys. Took a little while, but we got there. Okay, so this was Flowing Flowers from the occasion or the mini catalog. And it's good. Michelle says, anyone else think those in-color gems don't really match the ink and paper? Not the way all of the other colors. Actually, I do think they match pretty well. They're iridescent-y, so I think what I actually appreciate about them is they kind of will cover several colors worth of paper. So I'm pulling polished pink. I think it probably depends on like what you have next to it. So for instance, these, like this is a pale papaya, and if I put it next to Mango Melody, it totally works. I was looking to see if that would change the look of these. I almost think they have a purple hue, but I also could be getting some reflections because I have a black sweater on. So I don't know. I feel like they work pretty well, and what I love is that they're, I don't want to say neutral because that's not the right word, but I feel like they're flexible enough to work with other colors pretty well. Because, for instance, my ink is actually Magenta Madness, but my gems are polished pink. But I don't think anybody would be like, well, that's a shade off. You know what I mean? So I don't feel that way, but maybe others feel differently. I like that they're kind of flexible, we'll say. And that's kind of what I love about Stampin' Up! Products in general. They're quite versatile, which is really nice. The other thing that I think is interesting is I've used these dark ones, which are Evening Evergreen. I've used them on Night of Navy, Bermuda Bay, Pacific Point, and there was another color. Maybe, what was the other color? I can't remember. But anyway, they work for a variety of colors, which I prefer too. So yeah. Okay, so moving on. But that's just me. I like to get as much stretch out of my products as I can. So I don't know. I like that it works for more than one pink. Personally. Now, I wouldn't put it with like Petal Pink or probably wouldn't go with Flirty Flamingo. It's definitely the wrong shade of pink for that color, but I think it is pretty flexible. Okay. I do love me some bling. Yeah, I think a lot of you guys are saying that too. Okay. So, next up, we had a guest request for garden greenhouse. And actually, I had been thinking about this stamp set. So I think I have shared with you probably more than once before that I put leftovers when I die cut stuff. I put the leftovers in a clear envelope and then put it in the case with my stamp set. So that's something I've been doing for a long time. And I really like that because the next time I use my stamp set, I can just pull out, you know, what I have left from the last project, and it sometimes is quick to use the set if I, you know, already have some stuff that's die cut. And somebody's asking to see the catalog, and I'm happy to show it, except I don't know what I did with it. Oh, here it is. It was on the floor. Here is the cover of the catalog. It's kind of got a bluish grayish sheen to it, and a gorgeous card sample, but that's all I can show you, unfortunately. If I showed you the inside, I could show you, but then they'd probably kill me. No, kidding, they wouldn't. But they might kick me out of Stampin' Up, and that would be bad. Oh, I wouldn't want that. So anyway, it's nice and pretty and fancy. It makes me happy. And I always get asked this. There's 184 pages. And I don't know how that translates to our current catalog. But I would say, ooh, there's more. This one only has 176. Oh, that's exciting. Yay. So here's our current catalog. It's a similar layout. Somebody said it looked exactly the same somewhere, and I was like, no, it's not. It's totally different. Although there are yellow. There's yellow on both of them. But anyway. So, all right. Next up, garden greenhouse. And this is the card that's going to use a little vellum. So I really like this stamp set, first of all. And I think it's pretty. So I wanted to do something with this. And I have die cut these two parts. There's, I'm going to get rid of this because it's kind of messy. So there's this detail part of the greenhouse, and then there's the solid part of the greenhouse. And so I die cut both of these pieces. This one is from gray granite, and this one is from vellum. Okay, and then I want to take this piece and die cut this with white because I'm going to stamp on this a little bit. So let me quick do that because I forgot to do that originally. So I'm going to set this aside. And now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to do a little stamping from my stamp set. Now, by the way, I meant to tell you, this leftover stuff is what I pulled to decorate my card with. So I love that I had that handy and ready to go. Now I'm going to take one of the stamped images, actually a couple of the stamped images in here, and add them to the card. And what I love about this is they're kind of two-step stamping. I don't know if that's technically what this is. I think it is. It's going to be in my book. Where you can stamp the greenery part of the stamp separate from the flower part of the stamp sentiment, or it's part of the sentiment. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to take Pear Pizzazz ink and stamp my beautiful greenhouse stamps. And I will tell you, I've got this bump on my table. So I'm just going to set this right here and stamp this. I have this bump and sometimes it causes my photopolymer stamps not to stamp well. It's because my surface is not completely flat. Ooh, Joy had a tip. Joy has great ideas. So what did she say? The solid one could be a barn. Ooh, that is a good idea, Joy. She does have good ideas. Okay. So then I'm going to take this part that I've stamped and we're going to add some of the flowers to it. Now I've got pieces here in Petal Pink and Flirty Flamingo. So we'll grab those colors. So I'm going to take Petal Pink and stamp a couple of these flowers like this. And then we're going to do Flirty Flamingo for the rest with this other one, including this one, which you can see there's like a spot for it. And because this is photopolymer, you can see through it. And I will tell you, I actually like this color a lot better when it's lighter. Do you see that? Ooh, this almost looks like day glow. But the good news about this is we're going to cover it with vellum anyway, so it won't matter that much. All right, so what I'm going to do is line up my vellum, and then I'm going to add the detail right over the top, and look at how pretty that is. So what vellum does is it kind of softens the stamped image, which is great because we've got this day glow flower right there, and you don't see that as much. And another cool little nugget of information is that vellum can be adhered directly to white cardstock. It won't show the adhesive. Look at that. No adhesive showing through. Now we've also got this very, very, very detailed image. This I'm going to attach with my silicone craft sheet and some liquid glue and a sponge. Okay, so my silicone craft sheet is one of my workhorses in my Stampin' tool repertoire. I'm going to kind of spread this out and get rid of this little thing that's stuck to it because that's going to wreak havoc. Okay, I'm going to flip this over to the back side, and spreading this out keeps it from being gloppy. This is a very detailed and not very large die. So I've added adhesive to this, and then we're going to adhere it right to our stamped and vellum layers. And now it is on here, glued really nicely, and my fingers are not full of glue, which makes me very, very happy. Okay, so there we go. So pretty. All right, now I want to decorate this on the outside too. So I've got this little flower stem, which is just this stem with the top portion ripped off, literally ripped off. And so I'm going to attach this to my greenhouse with a couple of glue dots. And my glue dots are ever so slightly larger than my my image, but that's not a problem, because what I'm going to do is just fold them over so they don't stick out. Okay, so just tuck any excess glue dot behind this little die cut piece. Okay, and then I'm going to just adhere this right here, and we're going to kind of do this right here so it covers up our day glow, because I'm really bothered by that. I don't know why. Okay, now we have these two pretty flowers. These pieces are from this set, the dies and everything. There's a whole bunch of pieces which are lovely, and I'm just going to attach those again with glue dots. You can see I kind of made these a little dimensional. Okay, and I'll do the same. I'll repeat this, but I want to do one thing first, and that is I'm going to color this with some clear Wink Stella to make it a little shimmery. Okay, because shimmery stuff is definitely better. And then we're going to add that right to the center. Now this time I'm going to, this is probably still wet, which is why it's not sticking very well. I'm going to put 2 glue dots on here. And the reason is when I stack 2 up, it gives me a little more lift. But I don't want so much lift that like a actual Stampin' and dimensional would give me. So I just want a little extra lift. Okay, and there we go. So that's super pretty, right? Aww. Okay, now let's prepare our card. So let me set that aside for a moment. So I've got a card base, which is Pear Pizzazz, because not every card I make has to be on white. And then I took my stitched greenery die, and I die cut a 2-inch strip of Pear Pizzazz. I say die cut, I don't know, I pierced it is more like what happened here. I loved that stitched greenery die. So I'm just going to attach this to the front of my card, and it just takes that background and kicks it up a notch so it's not so boring. Okay, and then I'm going to add my greenhouse. Oh, it's so pretty. Isn't this just gorgeous? Okay, I'm going to flip that over and pop it up on dimensionals because, I mean, we can. Why wouldn't we? Okay. And then I'll put that on there like that. Oh, that's so pretty, isn't it? Oh, okay. Did the stitch greenery retire? No, ma'am, it did not. Thank goodness, right? I love that die. I use it quite a bit. Okay, so I've also got a 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel for the inside of my card, and I could stamp another greenhouse, but I think what instead I will do is just take one of the smaller images and add that on the inside of my card along with a few flowers. And so I will do that in my Pear Pizzazz, and then we'll add our sentiment on here as well. So just going to bring back my little Pierce mat. This Pierce mat is really handy with my photopolymer stamps because it makes a nice stamping surface for some of these rough, this rough background I have. This is actually flooring, so it's not meant to be, you know, perfectly flat at all. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp a couple flowers to decorate this. We'll stamp off so we don't have day glow. I'll just kind of peek these in a couple spots like so, and then we'll do a couple in Petal pink with my other image. And this just adds a nice little touch, doesn't it? It's so pretty. Okay, now for my sentiment. Now this is the stressful part. Do I want to put it on the outside of my card or the inside of my card? I really like that each day is a new beginning. I think I'll stamp that right there. And you know who I want to send this to? I hope she's not watching. Is my friend who is in the middle of a divorce. And I think this card might kind of speak to her. And she might like it. And she really likes flowers and things. Okay, now the other thing, and by the way, we've just a little more to do on the front of this. And then I think on the inside, each day is a new beginning. I think we'll put, hope your day is just right. And we'll add that to the inside. I love some of the sentiments that are kind of different and creative in some of our sets. We'll stamp that right there. Oh, so pretty. And sometimes you just have to sit back and say, I made that. Like, I did that. Do you guys ever feel like that when you make cards? Even if it's a copy of something, who cares? You still made it. Yay, you. Okay, I'm going to put an elegant faceted gem in the center of this because I believe that is what this card needs. But that's an unopened package. And I know I have several opened packages of this. Here we go. So I'm going to pull off, I think, this one right here and set it right in there like so. Oh, and it's just perfect. Look at that is. So Joy asked, when you put the sentiment on the bottom like that, which I love, how do you sign it so it looks right? Well, I would just say, you know, blah 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 heart Dina. Don't you like that? Blah 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 heart Dina. Or what I often do is arrow, continue writing on the back, and then heart Dina. So, you know, whichever you feel you need. So there we go. Isn't that pretty? I like how that turned out. I wasn't 100% sure what would happen, but I think this is pretty awesome. Okay, so there is my second card. That one came together a little quicker because we didn't have kind of ink lessons in between. Sometimes we have to break for education, right? This is an educational show. Okay, so next up, ooh, this one I'm kind of gonna, I just have to tell you, I'm fangirling over a stamp set. I have not used the set and I was like, dang it, today we're doing it. I don't even care. So here we go. And that set is the Seize the Day. Get it? Seize the Day. Sorry, I can't even help it. I love this set because these fishies are so cute. I just love all of these. And I think they're so awesome. They're just fun and different, and they're very watercolory looking. So I'm excited about this set. And we're going to do a little watercoloring with this. And this is a technique anybody can do. You don't have to be a watercoloring like aficionado to have successful results with this. So, okay, we're cleaning up just a little. I gotta clean up just a little to make this card happen. Okay, so for this, I'm gonna start with some watercolor paper. And I think my piece here is the right size. I also started by die cutting this this die that comes with this set in the front of this is, of course, Coastal Cabana, the color that lets us know God loves us. And then I've got a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 by 5, or no, 4 by 5 1/4. Gosh, I was like, that is not right. 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of our Fluid 100 watercolor. Okay, so I love this because it's just so pretty. Now I want to create a little bit of a background on here. So I'm going to do a couple of things. First off, I'm going to mark my oval just a little on here so I can kind of see where things are a little bit for my coloring purposes. Okay, and again, I promise you do not have to be well versed in any way. With watercoloring. Okay. So I just marked a few spots on here so I can kind of visualize where they are for the coloring purposes. And then I'm going to keep this right here handy. Okay. So I want to, whenever I watercolor, I like to have some water sitting here. This is a wine glass that says Sassenach. Thank you, Karen. That is a reference to Outlander, in case you don't know what a Sassenach is. Then I'm going to grab my water brushes. And I've got 2 that I'm going to use today. One is the wide, we call this a wash brush. And then the other is kind of the medium brush. And we're going to paint some water on here directly. I also like having a rag handy to catch so I can dry off my brushes and clean the ink off better. And I like using the glass versus squeezing the water out of these because the control is not as great as I would like it to be. And sorry, my phone was ringing. And so anyway, I'm just going to drag these across like so. Okay. So this is just clean water. It's mostly clean water. And then I'm going to add some color. So I'm actually going to use some balmy blue ink, which I think is a pretty color for water. Okay, and I want this to be pretty light. So I don't want it to be too dark. So we can kind of go over most of the background with this. Now you saw, oops, I got a little darker than I wanted. Just add a little more water and then you're good to go. You saw this, I took the ink out of the lid of my ink pad. If you struggle squeezing your ink pads to the lid, I know some people don't have the hand strength for that. There's a really easy way to get around that, and I'll show you with our next color what to do. Okay, so I've just kind of put a wash of this blue, balmy blue, on the whole background. Okay. All right. Then I'm cleaning off my brush because we're going to add some other colors to this. So I mentioned if you don't have the hand strength, here's what you can do. I'm going to take my next color, which is going to be Granny Apple Green. Okay, and I'm going to just put my block to the ink pad. You can see I only did part of the block. You want a clean block. Don't do one that's kind of dirty. Sometimes you get ink on your blocks and all that. You want a clean block. And then I can pick up the color that way. I find that's easy to do. And then if you don't cover the whole thing, you've got a little room to kind of mix and whatnot. Okay, so now what I want to do with this color is add some green in those areas where we had the seaweed kind of happening. So if you recall, I marked some of those spots on here. And so we're just adding a little bit of color in those areas. And right over the top, I knew this was going to meld nicely with the blue that's already on here. Okay. And so that looks pretty good. You can come back in. I used my wash brush, and you could come back in after this dries a little bit and add a little more color if you want with this brush, so it's a little more detailed. But so far I'm sticking with my wash brush. Okay, now the last thing is I've got some coral down here, and I was thinking I would color that area in with a little bit of Mango Melody, but I want to be careful because this is a pretty different color from the rest, so I want to not go too crazy with my coloring. Okay, so I've kind of added some water here, and like I said, we're going to be careful, and this is going on pretty nice, so I think we'll be okay. And again, we want to go a little outside the lines, but you know, keeping it generally where we want the color to be, so it's not, you know, way out here. Now, if it's too wet and this starts dispersing, then I would take like a Kleenex or a paper towel and dab it off and then start again. I'm gonna heat this up to help it dry. And you can see it's curled up pretty good. As it dries out, it will flatten, which is one of the ways you know we're getting it nice and dry. Okay, now we're gonna do a little trick with this. First of all, we're gonna double check and make sure we're like roughly where we want it, and we are, so yay. Now the next trick is that we're gonna take our brush. We want to clean it really good. So if there's water or color, you know, I've got some of that mango. Let's squeeze the ink or the water through to make sure this is getting clean. There's no more mango, because we definitely don't want mango on here for the next step. In fact, I might even put some balmy blue on here just to ensure we got all the mango out, and I think we're okay. All right, now what I'm going to do is rinse this once more, and then I want this to be wet. So I've got it fairly wet, you can see. And I'm going to tap this onto the background so that I'm just getting wet water on here. And when I do that, you can see there's water droplets all over here. I just tapped it against my hand. Now I could leave these like they are, or I can be sneaky and I can dab them up with a clean portion of my towel. You want definitely a clean portion. So you can use a paper towel for this, or a cloth or whatever. And then when you dab it off, you've got little droplet spots on here. And you don't see them super well, but they're there, trust me. And then as we dry, they often pop out a little brighter. And so that just kind of gives us more of the look of watercolory wetness, you know, water of this. Okay, so that's fun. Yay. Now let's do a little bit more action on here. So I just want to kind of put this back in here. I'm happy with the colors I've got, but I do want to add a little bit more granny apple green. So that's where I'm going to bring in my more detailed brush, because this was still wet, so it kind of dispersed. I want some more colorful sections. Oh yeah, I used this. So let's come and pick up some of this. And then this time I'm going to kind of draw in some seaweedy looking things on here, like so. Okay. And I could use, there's some stamps in this set that I could use for this too, but I'm kind of sticking with my watercolor. Okay. And just keeping it not too detailed. Now, because we dried this before we colored them in, you can see the shapes, the lines that I'm coloring in are staying pretty sharp, which is what I was going for. So that's good. Okay, if your brush is too wet or the background is wet, then you'll get all of that dispersing, which we liked at the beginning, but now we wanted to add in some more detail. Okay, so we're done with that part. Now I want to do something that's really gonna pop in this area. And I think what I can do for that is ink myself up a jellyfish. I could do a fish or an octopus, but I've got my eye on that jellyfish. Okay, there's all kinds of fun stuff in here. Now, look at this is a virgin stamp set. We're going to use it. Oh, the crack of a fresh set. So one of my favorite things about living in California, I used to live there while my husband was in grad school. We lived in the Bay Area, and my absolute favorite thing to do was to go to Monterey Bay. And if you've ever been there, you probably know what I mean. It is just a glorious place. And secretly, growing up in Minnesota 40 some years ago, I really wanted to be a marine biologist. And I laugh because I saw this meme. Have any of you seen this recently? It was why people from the Midwest wanted to become marine biologists in the 80s. It was Lisa Frank dolphin stickers. Do you guys remember those? Anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. So I have always had it in my heart that I could be a biologist, a marine biologist. In fact, when I was in college, I almost went and studied one summer, and then I think I might have fallen in love, and that's probably why I didn't end up doing it. But I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, so I just love the idea of that. Well, anyway, going to Monterey Bay, one of the coolest parts of the Monterey Bay Aquarium, one of my favorite places, was the jellyfish exhibit. And it was just so cool. And those jellyfish were just these bright, vivid colors against this very blue background. And oh, I just loved every bit of it. So we're making a jellyfish. Okay. Oh my gosh, Nancy, you used to live in Monterey. Oh my goodness. And Sue used to live in San Francisco, so she knows exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, one of my favorite things about San Francisco was finding jellyfish that had washed up on the shore. If you went to the left from the Golden Gate Bridge and drove, there was like a kind of a beach area at somewhere. But anyway, we saw jellyfish that were there, and it was really cool, like washed up on the shore. I have a picture of me holding one on a stick. You're welcome for all that information. Okay, so I've inked this up with both my magenta and my Mango Melody. Okay, and what I'm going to do next is stamp this on my scrap of, got this goofy scrap of my FLuid 100 paper. Okay. And there we go. Now that looks pretty cool, right? But it's not like vivid and intense and awesome. So now I'm going to take, oh, goodness, my phone never rings. It's rung twice. I don't think my phone has rang all day, yet twice while I'm live. Don't these people know? One is my sister and one is my friend. Oh, I'm just kidding. How dare they? Okay, so I'm going to take my detail brush and I'm going to go over this. And this is what I call faux watercoloring. And so what I'm trying to do is kind of bleed these colors a little bit. And then we're going to add a little bit of pink to this so that it kind of goes down through the center of this, because it's really hard to ink this up that way. But there we go. Now we're getting some of that dark color down the center. All right. And then again, we're going to clean brush. We're going to bleed this and then look at how that color kind of gets a little bit more intensified. And this is nothing. Ooh, got a little more water than I bargained for there. So I'm going to dab. There we go. But we're just bleeding this out a little bit. Or blending. I guess bleeding is technically correct. But oh, this reminds me of one of those jellyfish from the Monterey Bay Aquarium. If you guys have seen this before, you guys know what I'm talking about. What do you think? Does it remind you of that? They were just so mesmerizing. Oh, it was so wonderful. I just loved it. And you can see there's a little ink on the edge of my pad. I'm not touching the pad itself. I'm touching the actual pad case. And then I'm just bringing a little bit of that color down to kind of add some more color in there. Okay, so I like that. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I don't want to mess it up. And so I'm going to take the die that coordinates with this, wherever I have it. Here we go. And I'm going to die cut this out. So I will put this in here. Of course, you want to make sure it's dry. This is mostly dry, as in it's not too wet. So I'm lining that up. I'm going to hold it in place with a Post-it note because, oh goodness, we don't want anything to happen to this. And I'll be right back. Let me cut that. Oh, there it is. It's so cool. Okay, so let's put our card together here. I'm going to, I'm just kind of flattening this out a little bit. I'm going to adhere this to the inside of my card. And whenever I do watercolor paper, I do like to add a little more adhesive than is probably necessary, just so that it sticks into the inside of my card really nicely. Okay, and oh, I love the look of that. It's even better than I thought it would be. Okay, so pretty. And then I'm going to just add this right in the center. In, popped up, obviously. And of course, I would think that you would all agree with me that this should probably be Winkastella'd. Because, let's be honest, it is definitely Winkastella worthy. So we'll add some shimmer to this. Being a little careful because sometimes you can kind of, you can bleed color inadvertently. So I'm just watching to make sure I'm not picking up color from the other areas here, and it stayed pretty good. So it's got a little shimmer now. So pretty. Okay, I also die cut a couple of the coordinating images that come in this set. So we're going to add a couple of those to our card here. So I've got that and that piece right there. And then we're going to add our sentiment in just a second. I think I will attach this with a glue dot because it's really tricky to know where the adhesive is going to end up. So we want to make sure our card will open. So I'm not going to get too worried about having a ton of adhesive on here. And then I've got this here, and we'll just tuck behind like so. And then that is adding a nice little touch to this. Now I feel like I want to balance out the color just a little bit. So I'm going to take another one of the stamps in this set and add that. There's a crab I could use. There's a, not really a fish, but a starfish I could use. Any of those would work, but I think I'm going to stick with the crab. And I'm going to ink this crab up in a little bit of mango, kind of on the bottom portion of this. And then the top part, I'm going to do some real red. I'm kind of rocking and rolling this a little bit. And then I'm going to soften them. This is a dry brush, and I'm just going to kind of soften that. And by dry, it's not totally dry, but it's a little dry. I want to soften the border on here so it looks nice. And then, where did my scrap go? I'll take this scrap and stamp that on there. And then we'll just blend this a little bit. And you know what, actually, I'm going to take and stamp it a second time. And this one, actually, I want to use, because this we can blend a little bit better and it'll be softer. This one was a little bit more intense. Sometimes when you stamp off the first round of ink, what you're left with, you can blend and it looks really nice. Okay, almost done. So this card is kind of putsy, not gonna lie, but oh, it's just so pretty. And then look, the eyes. Okay, so I'm gonna die cut this really quick. Because we gotta die for that. And what I like is I'm adding some extra color so that the card is even out, and we're gonna put the crab right over here on the outside. So there's kind of some fun, bright stuff on the outside and some fun colors on the inside as well. Okay, there we go. All right, and I do happen to have one more of these. So I'm going to put that behind this. Oh, and everything's kind of even now. Okay, we're almost there. Well, thank you, Wendy. I'm loving how it's turning out. That always makes me happy, you know. Okay, and then we'll pop. Oh, no, we'll stick this one directly on. Okay. Now, there's one other thing I want to do. Sorry. I'm pulling out this seaweed. This is literally kelp. So I want to pull this out, but I'm going to stamp it in Coastal Cabana a little bit on here. And these are all really nice images. Let's be honest. We need to put something down here. And so I'm just going to kind of fill in this background slightly. I probably should have done this before I started adhering my die cut pieces, but I just don't want this to be 100% just plain. Okay, now that looks amazing. Yeah, this is kind of turning out to be sort of a busy card. I almost put that in upside down. And I am going to pop this up. Okay, so there we have it. There is our beautiful, beautiful card. But we still need to add a sentiment to this, and I just am not 100% sure where. That's so tricky. But before I forget, I'm going to erase my pencil lines. Some of them are kind of buried. I'm not going to be too worried about them. You know, they're in here. I'm not going to worry about those. But these ones on the yellow, I just want to get rid of. Okay. There we go. But what should we do for the sentiment? I can't even decide. I feel like oh, I feel like just putting thanks right there, but I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if I changed the position of this slightly. a little further up. That would give me a little more room. Like, what if we put oceans of happiness right there? But you know, then what if I stamp it crooked? Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, we're going to practice this first. Okay, that looks pretty straight. Let's get the schmutz off of it. Here we go. It's a stamp of faith, that's for sure. Wishing you oceans of happiness. Of course, it didn't stamp 100% perfect. So let's just fill it in ever so slightly with my Stampin' Right marker. Because we are stamping on watercolor paper, so that sometimes... Okay, there we go. Feeling pretty good about this. All right, what do y'all think? Okay. You like it? Oh, thank you. I'm gonna... Here we go. I've got my silver and clear epoxy essentials. So I think we're going to put a couple clear dots on here to add to this. Okay. So I'm just going to add these around in a few different places. Like so. Maybe one more up here. Now, I think this would be fun for, you know, the right wedding theme. You know, all those underwater weddings you go to. But rather maybe an anniversary or an engagement might be kind of fun. And so, yeah. Oh, isn't that cool? This one did turn out all right. Okay, so there we go. I think there's so much that can be done with this set, though. It's really pretty. The other thing I was thinking is like vellum would add a nice touch to this, but I didn't want to go a step too far. That can happen sometimes. Okay. I think I'm going to wrap it up there because this card was a lot of work. And it's, oh my gosh, it's already 6:38. I need to feed my family because I mean, you guys, they just want to eat every single day. I don't understand. Like, can't we just take a couple days off? I kid mostly, but all right, we did some pretty interesting projects today. A good wide range, I'd say. All right, so let me bring in my projects to share with you once again. So we made this fancy watercolor card. Then we made this really pretty garden greenhouse card. And then we made this really pretty flowing flowers card. So yeah. So everything has an inside today. What? So nice. All right. So I hope you loved my projects today. If you could give me the thumbs up, that would really rock. That helps so much, whether you're watching this live or you're watching the replay. And don't forget to take advantage of my ordering special. It ends on Thursday is the last day to enjoy it. Bingo's coming back next month. The registration will be out today or tomorrow. I'm sorry, tomorrow or the next day. Pardon me, tomorrow or the next day. If you are part of the retreat this weekend, the PDF got emailed. The boxes are on their way. The swaps are on their way. Thank you so much for being a part of that. It was a really wonderful event. And if you didn't get in on it, I actually still have a couple boxes left. So I would be happy to send a box to a fabulous home. Just there should be a link in the description of this video. So, oh, I have a troll. Well, gosh, seriously, that's no fun. Oh my. We'll just do that. Well, that is fun. Okay. If you guys see trolls, you can just hit like, I don't know, report. I think that's it. Okay, I think we're good. All right, that's it. Okay, I think we're good. All right. So anyway, guys, I hope you loved my projects from today. Oh, you blocked it. Thank you. Thank you, guys. We're good. I appreciate it. Okay, so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And otherwise, thank you guys so much for being with me today. I will be right back here on next Monday, and I think before the end of the week, I'll do my live with all of the stamp sets that are being retired, my samples. So like I went through the catalog last week, and then this week I will do a live. I just have to figure out my schedule for what day. And I will try and gather up all my samples for you. So watch for that. It'll probably be the end of the week. So anyway, thanks guys. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you soon.